I had mentioned to Lynn before the event started that we have a huge number of questions from state legislators talking about the fiscal crisis state by state. I will give those questions to Lynn. There's absolutely no way that we're going to be able to entertain those questions here. But there's a broader question and a proposal that comes from one of these standing committees advising Obama that I think is worth asking. And they say, Mr. LaRouche, recently in considering the state's fiscal collapse, we got a report from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and had a lengthy discussion following their report. As you know, the states, unlike the federal government, are not permitted to run current budget deficits. So in a deep crisis as we are in now, when tax receipts collapse, their only choice is to cut program spending and raise taxes. Both are, of course, rather perverse in a crisis like this one, since they only further undercut the standard of living of an already suffering populace. As the new fiscal year begins, every state, save two, are in a position where they are being forced to raise taxes and fees, lay off workers, and reduce programs. A full 48 states face bankruptcy. Some of the state budget crisis is self-inflicted, as in the death dance that we've all been witness to by California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. But unfortunately, California is not alone in this. Massachusetts has a liberal governor, but they just hiked the sales tax by 25%. A total of 24 other states have enacted tax increases, and another 12 all have tax hikes on their agenda and are in special session now. Federal aid under the stimulus package covers less than 30% of the projected state shortfall, which currently is $350 billion. 39 states have cut program outlays to the needy. Several states are cutting out summer school. We could go on and on. It seems to us that rebuilding a banking system that serves the real economy is challenging, but this part is not. Washington is the one part of our government with the capacity to run deficits. Our solution, and we believe that it must be done immediately, is for Congress to pass an emergency revenue sharing law, giving the states another $150 billion immediately. They can impose the policy under what they call maintenance of effort, that's fine. But the fact is that something has to be done, and it has to be done today. The stimulus money is mostly unspent because of various bureaucratic hurdles at all levels of government. It seems to us that this approach would break through all the red tape and all of the problems. It certainly would not solve the broader questions that we're trying to address, but it would at least alleviate the immediate suffering of people who have absolutely no idea how they're going to survive. Do you think that this is a sound approach?
I would say this is absolutely an urgent approach if we're looking at things in reality. It will solve temporarily a major crisis, a major bottleneck, and it has to be done immediately. I think we put this under the category of emergency legislation because all it requires is an act of Congress and demand that it be implemented by the 1st of January, early 1st of September, and put this on the agenda. This should be an urgent priority. Because what you have is you have a regressive increase in local taxation which will only aggravate the problem in all of these states under target. Since the federal government created the damn mess, the federal government ought to contribute something to solve it. The states didn't create this situation, the federal government did. But again, this means we have to put the present system in bankruptcy reorganization. And go back to my proposed legislation back in 2007, the Homeowners and Bank Protection Act. We have to implement that as national law immediately. In that context, this legislation just proposed here should be on the list of emergency legislation in order to prevent chaos in the states. Look, we have a problem. If we do not do the things I've indicated, you are going to have riots and riotous conditions throughout the United States. The United States will become ungovernable, and somebody will try to set up a dictatorship. We have to act now. Don't worry about Obama. Let's call him Obama. He is on the way out. He's either going to be a captive under adult supervision in the White House, or he's going to be out. And that's going to be demanded. You will find that by early September, the desire to have Obama impeached will be unquenchable.